Beneath nearly 740 kilometers of Atlantic darkness, there is a silence older than living memory. A silence that guards rooms most people never knew existed. Behind the sealed doors of Titanic's first-class suites, reality has frozen into something almost otherworldly. Not a legend, not a myth, but the untouched remains of a world that vanished in a single night. Tonight, the ROV passes through one of those rare, sealed thresholds. Doors warped shut since 1912. No light, no sound. Only a pressurized stillness that has not been disturbed in over a century. As the robotic arms push the door open, sediment lifts like a cloud of ghosts, and an entire suite reveals itself, intact, waiting, as if the passengers simply stepped out and never returned. This is where our journey begins. Inside the locked rooms of Titanic's most luxurious accommodations, rooms built for royalty, magnates, celebrities, and the wealthiest travelers of the early 20th century. Now frozen in deep sea time, the ROV glides into a space that once cost more than many earned in a lifetime. An ornate bed frame sits anchored to the floor, its gilded posts coated in thick layers of rusticles and coral growth. The once plush mattress has collapsed inward, exposing coils and springs curled like fossilized vines. Nearby, a pillow remains in place, its form barely recognizable, but still holding the outline of where a head once rested. For a moment, you feel the eerie realism. Someone slept here. Someone dreamed under this very blanket. Someone expected to wake. But the ocean claimed this room first. As the ROV's light moves across the chamber, shadows dance across carved woodwork and engraved metal. Even frozen in decay, the craftsmanship still radiates elegance. Next, the ROV enters a tiled washroom. White porcelain tiles cover the walls, cracked and mottled with centuries of ocean minerals. A shower pipe, still bolted in place, leans forward under its own rust. The metal shower head, coated in heavy oxidation, is frozen mid-drip, as if waiting for water that never returned. On a small ledge sit two metal grooming tools, their shapes distorted, their surfaces crusted with marine life, but unmistakably objects once held in human hands. The personal hygiene luxuries of the wealthy. Vanity in the middle of the Atlantic abyss. The next room opens into a dressing area, one of the most extraordinary preserved spaces in the suite. Brass hooks line the wall, each still holding the remains of clothing accessories. A pair of metal buttons fused together by corrosion, a twisted hanger covered in marine shells, and at the foot of the wall, a pair of leather boots. Leather degraded, soles warped, but still undeniably boots. The ROV gently sweeps a current of water across them. Sediment lifts and swirls, revealing delicate stitching along the edges. These belong to someone wealthy enough to dine with the elite. Someone whose steps echoed across Titanic's polished floors. The ROV descends through a narrow, cage-like maintenance shaft behind the suite, a hidden pathway used only by staff. The bars curve upward into darkness, all encrusted with orange rust and marine growth. The ladder rungs look delicate enough to break at a touch. As the ROV moves downward, a faint vibration of drifting sediment resembles falling snow. You realize no human has descended this shaft since the night of the sinking. It is a vertical time capsule. This small annex was reserved for private service staff attending first-class passengers. On the wall, an array of kitchen knives remains exactly where they were placed, each blade frozen in a grip of rust, each handle softened by decades underwater. The ROV's claw gently taps one blade. It doesn't fall. It has become part of the wall itself, as if the metal has grown roots into the steel. Nearby, the remains of serving trays lie collapsed on the floor, fused into a single metallic mass. This room, though tiny, reveals the hidden machinery of luxury. The people who worked behind the scenes ensuring the elite dined, dressed and lived in comfort. In the next chamber sits an ornate metal heater, decorated with gold leaf ornamentation now mottled with barnacles and sea growth. The ROV's claws open its furnace door. Inside lies a slab of decorative molding, golden, distorted, half eaten by corrosion, a fragment of Titanic's elegance, now transformed into a relic of the abyss. The heater itself is a piece of sculpted art, a reminder that Titanic spared no detail, even for fixtures never meant to be seen by most passengers. This room shocks even veteran explorers. A barber's chair, anchored into the floor, still faces a vanity counter lined with grooming items, rusty shaving brushes, metal razors, small, barnacle-coated cups. Behind it, a row of mirrors sits shattered, each piece reflecting slivers of the ROV's light. The glass glitters like underwater stars. The chair's springs are exposed, its cushions dissolved, yet the form remains so clear that you can almost imagine a first-class gentleman sitting there getting ready for an evening dinner. This is not just a room. It is a preserved moment in time. The ROV glides into a lounge space where a wrought iron bench rests against the wall. Though heavily rusted, the decorative patterns are unmistakable. Curved metalwork, intricate scrolls, and a central emblem embossed with the logo of the ship's operating line. The bench slants slightly, one leg sunken into the decayed floor. Its metal surface is blooming with orange and white coral clusters, nature reclaiming design once meant for comfort. This piece of furniture has survived pressure, bacteria, and collapse, a testament to how even beauty can endure in unimaginable places. Behind the private suite lies a mechanical control room, used only by staff. A secret area not seen by passengers. Giant pistons stand frozen in place like underwater monuments. Pipes and valves snake across the walls, connecting to machinery no longer needed. The ROV examines one of the rusted mechanisms. A valve wheel remains intact, its handle covered in thick marine crust. This hidden space shows how even first-class luxury relied on an unseen world of engineering. This narrow corridor connects to an officer-only access route. Here, the ROV discovers objects preserved from utility work. Coiled rope hardened by salt, a bell partially fused to its bracket, and a lantern frame folded in on itself. These were emergency tools that likely played a role in the frantic final minutes. Every object is a ghost of action, a whisper of urgency frozen in place. ROV enters a space no passenger has seen in over a century. A small lounge with collapsed furniture, chairs overturned, cushions dissolved, but carved frames still standing. Next to a shattered glass cabinet lies a metal music stand. Not a violin or cello, only the stand itself. A haunting reminder of the ship's famous musicians. Even without instruments, the room feels like it remembers music. Near the far end of the suite sits a tall wooden storage cabinet, its door partly open. Inside, preserved by darkness and cold, rest several remarkable items. A metal hand mirror, its frame darkened with age. A decorative hair comb made of hardened material, now fused with coral. A pair of metal jewelry boxes crushed inward by pressure. A long, ornate coat hanger, still holding a shredded piece of fabric, possibly once silk. None are intact. All are breathtaking. Objects meant for elegance now turned into relics of survival. The ROV enters the master bedroom, the heart of the suite. A towering headboard stands against the wall, covered in rust and coral fans. Beside it, a collapsed nightstand holds a metal pocket watch case. No internal mechanisms remain. A compact grooming tool, a small decorative box fused shut. The ROV's light reveals the room's eerie symmetry, as if everything is still in place, waiting for its owners to return. But no one ever did. At the far end of the suite lies a door, swollen shut by 113 years of pressure. The ROV pushes it open. Sediment billows outward, like a release of trapped memories. Inside lies a storage closet containing a stack of metal-framed luggage, collapsed inward, fragments of personal items fused into clusters, the remains of a heavy decorative coat, only the clasps and metal fittings surviving, a coin handle made of metal, the wood long dissolved. This final room is like a vault, holding the last fragments of lives interrupted. The ROV backs out of the suite, its lights grazing each corner one last time. What remains is not treasure, not spectacle, but humanity, preserved in rust, silence, and darkness. A century-old world, untouched until now. As the ROV's lights fade, the suite sinks back into darkness, sealing its story once again beneath the weight of the Atlantic.